Hey everybody, welcome to Chill Under Pressure. I'm Les,
I'm Rodney.
And I'm Adam.
and today we have the refrigeration mentor with us, Trevor Matthews.
Morning,
And,
Trevor.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Where are you calling in from, Trevor?
I am calling just outside Toronto, Canada. That's where I'm dialing in
All
from.
All right, I
That's
like it.
fantastic. My wife is Canadian. She grew up in Strathroy, which is near London, Ontario. So
Yeah,
not
that's
too
not
far
far
down the
from
road from you.
Like an hour and a half
Yeah.
drive.
I flew in
It's
there a
getting
couple
it's,
times
get-
this
it's a
summer.
beautiful day, but it's cold out. It's cold here today.
Yeah, all right.
We're like
The seasons are
55.
changing.
That's got to be tough too, right? You're interacting a lot with all of us Yankees down here, and having to swap back and forth between Celsius and Fahrenheit, and you know, probably
Yeah,
not a whole lot of French.
Yeah. You just figure it out. It's not that
Yeah,
difficult.
do
You know what I mean? You could
Seems
ask
hard for us, I'm not
ChatGPT
sure
and it'll tell you.
why.
That's difficult for me, Trevor, but thanks for throwing that out there. Appreciate it. So hey, we've communicated a few times, but we met you first time in person at FMI this past week, and
Yeah.
that was a pleasure. I sat in on your class that you taught,
Awesome. Thank you.
and yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, sometimes you go to these courses and it's like you feel you're gonna fail the test in the class, right? But yours was very informative, and the way you present the questions and everything, it was definitely informative. You asked some questions, and you get a lot of people raising their hands, like they're not intimidated to say, "Hey, yeah, I'm not familiar with that term," or whatever the question was that you're asked, but several times, and that was that was impressive.
Oh, I
to me.
appreciate that. Yeah, one of the big things too when I'm presenting or training is like I want to have the people involved. For me, my slogan is let's get a conversation going, and this is what I want to do. This is how we learn together. So when I'm educating people, because our business is training and education, this is what we do. We train people all around the world, technicians, contractors, end users, refrigeration professionals, from designers to technicians, and the whole purpose of education and knowledge is to learn together. And that's what I really believe. And when I was doing that session, is just, you want people to think. I can go there and just share the knowledge, and I can just spill it all out. And I've done that for years, but it's not as effective if they're involved and you help them think a little bit, help them be a bit more curious about that subject or that topic. And when you have more people involved, it's way funner. That's what it's all about. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Education is fun.
Well,
It should be fun to learn.
And it takes the intimidation factor out. I mean, other than the lecture where you're like, well, I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't feel like I can raise my hand. I don't feel like I can ask a question. When you make it a conversation, it's inviting. People learn a whole lot more because they're willing to, expose their own weakness, I guess, at least I find that for myself. I feel like when you have a really good teacher, mentor, they don't make you feel stupid for what you don't know, right? So it's good.
Yeah, I just remember sitting there going, "Yeah, this is cool. People are engaging. They're raising their hand. Yeah, I don't know that. I'm not familiar with that." So, what's your journey? Where'd you start? How long you been in the industry, or what
Yeah.
got you to
Yeah, I
the point
started.
of the training?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about refrigeration. Back in 2003, I finished up a business diploma. I went to university, then to college, and then I was all done, and then I was looking for a job, and then I was doing these employment agencies. So, I do a job, and they're like, okay, we got a 3-month contract for you, and I do the work in 3 weeks, and they're like, well, we don't have anything left. So then I would have to go do another job. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, this is like I'm making $14 an hour or $10, $12 an hour, and I'm like, I need to make some money, and I want to travel, and you can't travel if you don't make money. So I actually stumbled across refrigeration. I was actually going back to school to become a bartender, and then I started having a conversation with a guy, and he was like, I'm like, what do you do? I'm from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, so we're very personable. We love chatting with people and getting to know people. So we were just at the school there, and I was like, what do you plan on going? And he said, I'm going to do the HVAC program. I'm like, HVAC? What is HVAC program? And I was like, well, actually, my dad's a refrigeration technician, and that's what I want to do, but we got to take the HVAC program. I was like, okay, well, what's refrigeration? Well, you go into a grocery store and you go buy milk and you pull out of the fridge. Well, people need to service that, install that, and fix that. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a job. I went and bought milk before, and I opened the thing. And then I asked them, like,
every time you go, it's just working, right?
yeah, exactly. And then I asked him, like, how much did your dad make? He's like $50 an hour, and then I just signed up that day. Like, I went and took the HVAC program. So that's how I got into it. So first gen refrigeration technician.
Out of curiosity, what was your degree in?
I took minor in finance and management.
Okay.
Yeah. So I run a business now, but I don't remember a lot of that. I actually didn't do very good because I was more on the partying side and having fun. I was living in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and it's just such a great town, a great city, and we were just having a lot of fun. 18 years old in university, you know what I mean? And here, like, I had student loans, so I was lucky enough to get the money to pay for it. So they just gave me a bunch of money, like at 18 years old, and my bank account's full, and it should have probably went more towards school than all the fun stuff I did. Right. But that came back to bite me like 5 or 6 years later when I had to pay a lot of money back. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. So that's how I actually got into it. So I took this, it was a 2-year condensed HVAC program into one. And so it was 12 months straight. And I crushed it. Like, I was because I already went to university. I didn't do that great in college. Didn't do that great. Because I could have did good, honestly, but I didn't invest in it. Like, I wasn't at the time, I wasn't investing in education as I do today. And I think differently today about learning and growing and how to fast track yourself, like personally and professionally. But I said I wanted to do good there, so I met some other techs, and they were a bit older as well. We were 24. Me and my buddy were about 24. I met a good friend of mine, Ryan McCarthy, and we just started studying. We were partying hard, but we wanted to learn. We wanted to do good, and we were always in the commercial refrigeration class, and that's the one that intrigued us. We were looking at these valves and these TX valves. What are they? You know what I mean? And we had like these little projects we do, and then we had gas fitting, so we got gas license from an oil burner license from that course, which was all good. But then I had to go and find a job, and me and my girlfriend at the time, we moved down to Hawaii. We were living out in Hawaii a bit, and then my sister calls me up because there's no internet at the time, like 2005. There's nothing. There's no real Google. And she was like, I got something in the mail for you from your student loan, and you got a $600 a month. This is your first student loan is $600 a month. I'm like, what? That's more than my rent is. That's more than what I pay for rent. And so then I had to make a decision.
Rent in Hawaii. I'm sure it's more than that now. I don't know.
But the thing is then I had to get a job. So then I started calling, calling around, and there was a little bit of search on Google at the time, or some websites, and I found this company in Western Canada, and so I just flew out there and started to do supermarket refrigeration. So I started construction, so that's really the beginning of refrigeration for me. Refrigeration, and that's where it really took off for me. I started making real money, and it was coming in fast too, because I was just crushing it. I was working the hours.
Working hard,
yeah. On the install, we were doing from 50 to 100 hours a week and I did that for a couple years straight.
There's not typically a shortage of hours in that field.
No,
You can grab what you want.
Well, it's still true. Like today, I mean, for those people who are thinking about getting in or don't know what they want to do, I mean, all the trades really, but I mean, obviously our passion point is HVAC refrigeration, and there's just a lot of opportunity, particularly in that refrigeration space. There's just such a shortage, and it's fun. I mean, I grew up in it. I started when I was 14 years old, working for my uncle, and doing shop work and whatever, driving the forklift. Anyway, that's a different story.
Feeding the fish.
The fish.
Refer to earlier episode if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's great. So your first stores, you were in construction, you said, what were you installing? Like, were you doing rack work? What's normal in the neck of woods?
I started picking up garbage, I'm sure, to really remember back. I remember it was the middle of the winter, so I moved from Hawaii, and then I get there and it's minus 40 or minus 50 out. My buddy picked me up. So the company was called Gateway Mechanical, and I talked to a guy, his name was Dave Clark. He doesn't work there anymore. But he was like, we need bodies, like when I call them. We just need people to come because we're short. Just like the same conversation everyone's having, we don't have technicians. It was the same thing back there. Yeah. And so I got on like 2 or 3 buses. I got to this place, and he's like, okay, can you start tomorrow night? And it's the night. So I was going to take whatever. I got these student loans coming. So So they gave me the site to go to. I had to figure out these maps. There was no phone or anything, so I was going through all these maps, and bus routes, and how do I get here? And I had to buy boots
Right.
because I had nothing when I went there. I had no clothes, no.
Sandals weren't going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then I had to I went to a hardware store to buy a toolbox, you know what I mean? And these tools that you don't even use in refrigeration because I didn't have a
Didn't know what you
clue.
need. I'll get my hammer.
Exactly. So I'm on the
The
bus for the first
frustration
time
hammer.
going up to the site, and then I get there, and they're like, "What do you got there, dude?" Like, you know what I mean? But anyway, so I get in there, and then I just started, pushing do whatever they wanted to do. Like they would tear cases apart, cut stuff out, did a lot of gluing insulation and pipe and making hangers. So the guys would show me once and just figure out how to do it and get better at it. And I just worked really hard with these older guys too. They were in their 50s and 60s, and
Yeah.
there was just three of us, and they just showed me some of the ropes and what to do, and then we just started crushing it. Like we were putting stores in, just the three of us. We did 2 or 3 stores right off the bat. So, and I just learned. I could have learned faster if I really understood then how to learn. You know what I mean? Because I was just following
Yeah.
what they said. Oh, do this, do that, and do that. But I remember thinking back, like my first few months, like they used to have like the Hussman or Hill Phoenix, whatever we were installing. They used to have like this little package with all the instructions, how to put the cases together, how they work, a wire diagram. Well, I seen all the other guys, what they would do, they'd grab and they just throw it in the garbage. You know what I mean? Because and I did that for months, and then I'm like, sometimes I have extra bolts or no bolts, and I'm just like, then I read to them, I'm like, oh my god, this is how you put them together. You know what I mean? And then started working harder, and then they give me more jobs. That'll be piping cases together, and then from there was helping them on the rack, and then other jobs getting to a point where we're working on the control side of it and pulling wire. So just doing it all. Like there was no, like today I talk to a lot of companies, and then you got like one company that will do the walk-in box, and you have another company maybe doing the piping, and somebody else laying the cases. I did it all. We did it all. We were doing
Yeah.
the install, the startup, the commissioning, like everything.
Yeah, you didn't even
So-
have someone to throw the extra bolts away and stuff. You had to do that yourself too.
yeah.
And the instructions, make sure they all got in the same bin.
But it was,
So I
it
mean,
was
that was
fun.
like fitting with the name of your organization, Refrigeration Mentor. I mean, that's how I started too, with a mentor, somebody who just like, you're working side by side and you're grabbing wrenches, you're sweeping floors, you're throwing away the stuff, whatever. And over time, you're learning how to sweat pipe and how to bend copper without kinking. Just grabbing it, bending it doesn't work. You got to use tools and all that.
Not the hammer.
Not the hammer. And,
Wait, are you saying that mentorship works better than hazing?
I never endorsed hazing. I did not issue the code red.
I didn't say you did. I was just making sure I heard that
That's
right.
So that's cool. From there, you have a pretty CO2 focus right now, right? Is that correct? First.
Yeah, well, I do I do design trainings. We do chiller trainings. We do supermarket training, and CO2 trainings. So we have a lot of customer service training. So we have a ton of different trainings that we do and that we offer. And yeah, so from there, like I was in Western Canada. I was working all over Western Canada installing stores. Then I got on call, and I started doing some service. With another company called Loblaws. They're right across Canada, so they have a big team there. Learned a lot there on the service side. They're like an in-house contractor for Loblaws. So just working with the guys, learning there. A lot of good teams there. Like a lot of the people that I work with there now are at really high positions or at other manufacturers. So still connect today. And then I moved out because I always wanted to travel, so we worked really hard. I saved up a pile of money, enough to almost buy a house, a really good mortgage down payment. And then, because earlier, like I said, I wanted to travel, so we spent from 2005 to 2009 just working real hard, saving money, me and my wife, and we moved to Australia. So then we went out to Australia, and I was doing refrigeration out there and air conditioning out there, just learning. I didn't have a clue, out there. So it's definitely different, so I had to go back to school there to get licenses for Australia and learn how they wire and how, because it is different. So, but it can be done. So I learned a ton out there. I worked at a place in Australia called Broome. It's way up in Western Australia, in the middle of nowhere. But I was on. It was in July. we get up to this. We run out of money. Me and my wife. We got no money left. We're in a car with no gas left, and we got our camping gear. So we're like, we got to stop here, and we got to figure out. We got to get some jobs because we can't go any further. There was no calling anyone. So we get to this little town, we find a little campground, and we have bikes. So I have a bike, so I start driving around. Even back in 2010, there's not much internet at the time. There was internet, but it's not like today. So got on my bikes and we looked into it wasn't Yellow Pages, but we were looking up AC companies in this little town. And so I started on my bike driving to these different, knocking on doors like, I'm a refrigeration technician. I got my Arctic license. You got a job? And there's like, no, we don't got anything. But it's the warm season there, so it's like they got like wet season. There's like 6,000 people. In the dry season, there's like 25,000 in this town. So they're like, oh no, we don't got anything going on. So I go to another one. No, we got no one. Then I go to this other guy. Like it was like a 20-minute bike ride and down this long road. And it's got this big barn, I remember. And I walk in and I knock on the door, and there's this lady sitting behind a desk, and I'm like, hey, here's my name's Trevor. I got a resume here. I'm looking for a refrigeration job. I'm a refrigeration technician from Canada. But I got my license here, and she's like, she got up and she's like, just 1 second. So she walks into the back and gets to this guy, the owner, and he comes out, and it's this skinny guy. And you can tell he's the hardcore refrigeration technician. When someone's a hardcore refrigeration technician. And he just started asking me some questions, and I kind of told him my background. And he looked at me, he's like, can you start tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I'm pumped. You know what I mean? I'm pumped. So he walks me around, I'm pumped. So I jump on my bike and I start to bike back to the campground because I'm super excited. And then I'm thinking, shit, my birthday's tomorrow. So my first day was on my birthday, you know what I mean?
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
They sing to you?
Yeah, it was called, the company was called KISS Refrigeration. And this dude taught me a ton about refrigeration. So I worked on diesel truck refrigeration, like the little ammonia fridges, they're the absorption fridges. I worked on a naval ship. Like I was working on their condensing units. Like the guys came with big heavy guns, pick us up. You know what I mean? Me and him jump on a boat. He had to work on something. I went and worked on something. Worked on pop machines, little coolers, like 12-volt DC coolers. And so he showed me all these things that I would have never learned about. And coffee machines I was working on over there, pop machines, vehicles, RV. So like anybody would stroll up. Like they would just drive in, and he's like, hey, just take a look at it. So it was cool. That was a cool experience. So in like 6 weeks, I made enough money. We made enough money because I was just pounding the hours too. Like he said, you work as long as you want. So I was working 14-hour days, 16-hour days, and 7 days a week. He said if I wanted to work, because there was just so much work there at a time. So I was just smashing it out. And it was fun.
I was going to say nobody else had any work because that guy was like owning the market.
Man,
It turned out to be a great birthday gift,
really.
right?
yeah,
You
so
reflect
it was
on
good.
it.
6 weeks. I made enough to fly back to Canada and then fly back to Australia. So
Yeah.
so it was
Very
good. It
nice.
was a good time.
And then at some point you decide, okay, I'm going to start taking all this information I have, and I'm going to start
Passing it on.
passing it along, right?
Yeah, so I think I got back to Canada, and then what happened then? So I got back to Canada. I got a job in Ontario. Then I worked out in Western Canada. I still had a pilot. We still had like 40 or 50,000 in student loans, me and my wife at the time. So I went to a place called Fort McMurray in Canada, it's now northern Alberta, and it's just you make as much money as you want. So they pay top dollar just to get people there. So I went out there and I was doing like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and then I was just smashing the student loans for a couple of years. Paid those off, and then I came back to Ontario. We're gonna have kids, and my wife's from Ontario, where we live now. And so I got a job out here with a company called Nealon's Refrigeration, really big, great refrigeration contractor. So I started doing service there, but I was working in Toronto, and I live about an hour from Toronto. And downtown, it's like working downtown New York, you know what I mean, or downtown Chicago or Los Angeles. It's just a real big. They're not as big as that, but it's a big city, our biggest city in Canada. And I was like, I don't want to be doing this every day. I was a step with like, and I get in the city that I'm living in, and there was just no openings at the time. So I looked up for another job in this job for a company called Emerson was available, and it was in the town I was living. I'm like, Emerson, who's Emerson? So I went in. They said refrigeration. They're looking for a refrigeration business development person. So I went in, and they're like, yeah, we sell Copeland. I'm like, I know Copeland. I didn't know who Emerson was, but I know Copeland. And so I didn't think I was going to get the job, but I was wishing to get it, and I smashed it, and then I got the job. And
Nice.
so that's when I got off the tools, and I started in really in the learning phase of my career at Copeland. There was a lot of good mentors there, and showed me. But it was a different. Like I took a massive pay cut, like 40% pay cut from what I was making to date this. And most people, it's tough. You know what I mean? If you have a couple of kids and you got to take a 40% pay cut to change what you're doing, and most people thought I was crazy. Like you're nuts. What are you talking about doing? You're taking that big of a pay cut, like, and but I did it, and that's why I'm here today. Honestly, is taking that risk, and just because people tell you it's crazy doesn't mean it's always crazy, right? So I went with them, and then I started learning. That's where I start really learning deep refrigeration, um, because when you work for a manufacturer and you invest in it, invest with them. All the big manufacturers, I know people, the people that invest with them, that want to learn, they're some of the smartest people that I know on the planet, because they got to fix the problem. When you set a product out and it's not working, you got to figure
Right.
the solution out with that contractor, that technician, or the end user, and that's what I was doing. So I was going and training. Kind of, we were business development, so I was selling all their new solutions like digital compression, variable speed, electronic valves, and controllers, and I was learning all this stuff at the time. And it got to a point where I'm just doing training all the time, like energy optimization projects or whatever. And then me and my boss at the time, his name was John Rabito, pretty cool dude. And he was like, we were like, man, we got to just start me as a trainer. So I became the national trainer 2016, maybe 2017, because I was already doing training. I was learning CO2 from Andre Patnaud probably in 2015. That's the first time I started training it.
Mm.
And then I was training with them. I think the very first year I was there, they did 6 training in the year. I think that was in 2014, 2015. And then in 2019, we did 76 trainings, like in-person trainings and virtual trainings. So we were just smashing it out.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun there, but I invested it. Like I worked there during the day, but I'm telling you, after work, I was studying manuals. I was looking at all their old PowerPoints. I was calling people in Europe, people in Asia, all around the world, trying to learn everything. So, because when somebody
Yeah.
called for support, and a technician, I knew how it felt. I was that technician out there, and it sucks
Right.
when you don't know how to fix something. So I did my best to support anybody who called me, or if it was a manufacturer or a wholesaler or a technician, just to give them that support, so they can feel a little bit more confident and they're not alone. And that's where really I started falling in love with training and education. Because while I was there, I went to a master's of education, so I could educate adults and understand the different personalities of people and how to train different type of people. Some people are visual, some people are audio, some people are hands-on, but actually we do kinesthetic, but we all learn from all those different ones. So really invested, they invested in me, I invested in them. And back in 2021, John, my boss at the time, Johnny, was like, Trevor, you've been asking for a few years, you want to be a leader, you want to have a team. And he was like, you get the pay finally. We got all this stuff that we were working towards for 7 years. I was working for it. And he says, we got it. And it's like, I can't accept the offer. So I'm gonna I'm
And
gonna, I'm
people
gonna
said, "You're
resign.
crazy.
I'm
You're
gonna
crazy for not
resign.
accepting."
Yeah. So right there, like everything I was looking for, I was like, no, John, I'm gonna resign. And he was shocked. You know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah.
And so that's when Refrigeration Mentor started. Yeah.
Yeah. The
That's a
whole
great
thing
story,
is fantastic, right? Because it shows that it wasn't easy, right? There's all these struggles, and I'm out of money, and I'm humping on my bike going around, and then I got to go another 20 minutes for a guy that's probably going to tell me no, just like the last 4 people or whatever, right?
But the
But
willingness
it
to,
worked out, and you
yeah.
kept going after it, and you stayed persistent, and then when you left that, when they offered you that, and you decided to turn it down, people probably told you were crazy then too,
Oh,
right?
oh
Why
yeah,
would
I
you
got
not?
nothing at
Yeah,
that point.
right.
It's
So
not going 40%, like it's zero.
yeah, zero, right?
There's zero,
So you're right, but those are the calculated risks, however you want to look at it, right? That it takes to get the rewards you're truly after.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
great story.
Yeah, what a great story. I would just say, like, you said, well, this is when I really started learning, and I kind of chuckled to myself as you said that. I was like, it's clear to me that you were always willing to learn. Like from day one, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to do whatever I have to do. I'm willing to work really hard. Listen to these old guys, these, as you describe them, teach you the ropes from start to finish on installs of grocery chains and, or, stores and racks and whatnot. And then the next job and the next job. Every one of them you dig in and you said, I want to learn everything I can. And I don't know what your message would be to everybody, but just listening to you, your life story is, hey, whatever you're doing, dig in and really learn all you can. That's how you excel. And I think it's a pretty cool
And
story.
apply it.
And apply it, yeah.
I don't know why though. Like I even talked to my wife about it. It's like, why did I just? Because like I had a gas license and then I got a full gas license. I don't know why. It's like maybe I get paid more money if I have more licenses, and just and I got a business and then I got a business. It's called a Blue Seal in Alberta, and I just kept doing all these other things and not noticing. I'm still having fun partying with my friends while I'm doing all this stuff. Now adulting, but it was I was always learning. I just felt that if I knew a little bit more, that it would help me,
Yeah.
And
Are you like this in other areas too, like hobbies and other things where you're just kind of like all in on it, or is it?
yeah, when I am, and right now my hobbies is my kids. You know what I mean? We're just spinning because I do a lot of travel and so it's just when I'm there now, it's trying to spend a lot of time. They get like they get home from school and then it's full on sports or full on right till bedtime. So it's like doing their stuff, but that's a lot of fun. Doing that stuff. But the hobbies for me, I'm pretty full on with the hobbies. Like I was a craft brewer micro brewer for from 2016 to about 2019, man. I had a 50-gallon system, me and my partner, and we would just brew all the time. Um, and that was a fun time.
That's cool.
But that was my last hobby, I think. Now it's the gym
How old are
and
your kids?
podcast. I have three kids under 11.
All right. Nice. I love it.
Yeah, so it's full on.
It's full on. That's
Full
that's
on.
a full on age. And then they start driving and you're like, oh, that's scary. So, no, it's cool. Very cool.
I mean, in this journey of the mentorship, it's obviously going really well. I would, from what I see, right? People are coming to your sessions. It was a packed room when I went in there, so there was a lot of draw to it. And it was, I think you posted on your LinkedIn that that was your first time being invited to speak there, right? Is that correct or?
No, I spoke there the year before on a panel, but it was the first time that I had a session by myself, which was great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was hundreds of people who applied. So thanks to Rebecca and the team and the board at FMI that they picked my session. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I would validate your decision there because I sat in on it, so it was good. So good selection choice. So, what would you want people to know about you, maybe, or any
Or how to find you,
how to find
or
you,
what
yeah.
they should, next steps of if they want to learn more, what do they need to do?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that they can go to refrigerationmentor.com and go to the courses page and check that out. But I really what I want to do is work with people who want to uplift the industry. That's who I'm trying to find around the world. Technicians, professionals, manufacturers, it doesn't matter. I'm looking for people who want to make our industry better. And that's why I have these courses. Like I have a supermarket academy where when a technician goes through it and they're a few years in, they're just like, holy smokes, I've learned all this stuff so quickly and now I can go apply it. Because I remember when I was 5 years in and I didn't have a clue. So I took all that stuff and all that stress. And I remember coming home from jobs and talking with my wife in bed, like, I don't know if I fix it or not. Should I go back out and go not? And then just get out of bed and just go back to that job to make sure that I open the ball valve or make sure I fix the problem. Because it was, for me, it was a bit stressful. And I want to take that off technicians out there because it doesn't have to be so stressful. I really try to push on the confidence. Like a lot of technicians that come to my program, they know their stuff. But it's that validation sometimes or the confidence, I'm not 100% sure. So I try to explain it in so many different ways that it just makes sense. And that's what a lot of people like. They say, I go to your programs and it just, you help me understand it a lot easier than in the past. So we do continuing education. So you do need to understand how to use the tools, the gauges, the meters and stuff. But from there, we do virtual training. So it doesn't matter where you're at in the world and I can fine tune you. So I'll find out the equipment you're working on. And how do we make that equipment last longer, work longer? What type of maintenance do you have to do? How do you service it properly? How do you quickly read through the wiring diagram or the P&ID? and just go through these steps and then get them to go out there and actually do it. Because this is what's happening out there anyway, right? And a lot of people call me, can you come and do in person? Like on a weekly basis, I'm sure I'll get a message or a call. Can you come and train train at my facility? But I've done that before, and it is effective. But that's not. I've done the 2 and 3 day trainings when I ran the cost courses for Copeland and stuff, and it's great. But they get about 10%. You know what I mean? There's so much knowledge and so much sharing that you can't absorb it all. So I do small breakouts. So on my live course is like 2 hours a week, and so they get an assignment or two for that whole week. Then we come back and we talk about the assignment, and then we can dive in deeper and then go out and do some more work in the field. You know what I mean? So it's like this progression of learning, versus just one full day. So if they get 10% of that 2 hours and they learn something, there's probably 6 things they'll learn versus just one full day. And everyone's different, you know what I mean? But I know it's been so effective. I have a guy in Florida I was talking to yesterday at the airport. His name's Steven, and he's been to he's coming into my intro to CO2, but he started out, he was a chef or a cook, and then he got into an HVAC program, and during the HVAC program, he found refrigeration mentor training because he felt like he wasn't learning what he should be learning in the class, and he took my course, and he said it just totally changed his career. Now he's running a crew of guys. He's out solving problems. Like he's sending me pictures of like changing the oil separators or solving load issues or just fixing stuff, a lot of stuff. And you know what I mean? And he's like, Trevor, it's all because the course I took, and it was just virtual. You know what I mean? Right. So,
well, and that's like early on, you said, look, people learn by audio, visual, hands-on, or a combination of the 3. So you're really by doing that continuing, hey, we're going to do this, go out this week, and then we'll come back. You're really touching on all of them.
Yep.
Right. And then the fact that they still sending you pictures and, hey, check this out, right? You're building relational equity with them, and that goes a long ways. And it speaks to, you don't do that if you go do a 3-day class.
Nope. That's right.
Right. So it's this investment where you have there's a long-term effect and you gain relational equity from it, them with you and you with them. So it's really cool what you're doing. It's fantastic. And like I say, it's obviously been effective.
Yeah, we do have a community called Refrigeration Mentor Hub. So it's refrigerationmentor.com/hub. It's free for technicians to come in, but the big thing is that I have ambassadors in there, and like someone will share pictures, or they'll share an issue, or they'll share a win. You know what I mean? And celebrate, because I really believe celebrating what we do right is so important. I have a lot of people that will come up and say, "Oh, Trevor, I've done 25 jobs this week, but I had this one bad one, and that sticks with you." And I remember doing the same thing. Like I screwed up this one job, and then I asked them, "How many jobs did you do good?" "Well, I did 24 good, but this one, my whole week is shot." You know what I mean? But what about the 24 that you crushed it at? And so in the community, we have mentors and we have ambassadors. Andrew Freeberg is an ambassador, and Aiden Lucy is an ambassador. So if a technician comes in and they need some support, they'll send some pictures or send a video so they can watch it, and then they can give some feedback. Just to try to give some guidance to help these technicians. And so we're trying to find the best people in the world who want to help and who want to grow and share, and that's what it's about. Like we're such a small industry versus other industries out there, and how do we work together to grow this industry?
Yeah,
Awesome.
Very good.
Do you have mostly Canadian techs in that hub, or is it a mixture of US
It's a
and
mixture
Canada?
of people from all around the world.
International?
All around the world. Oh, you probably got some Australian guys in there too now, huh? Like you got some background over there. That's cool.
Yeah, there's people from probably 15 or 20 countries. I haven't gone through it, but there's lots of people.
Yeah.
When we do meetups and stuff, there's people from different parts of the world all the time.
That's neat too, because you get different perspectives. Like you said, even going to Australia, you discover there are differences, right? It's not. I mean, the ideas, the concepts are the same, but wiring's different, power sources are different, and certainly regulations are different. So it's cool to get different perspectives across the world. So
refrigeration's the same, but it's the electrical part. That's about it. Refrigeration, thermodynamics, all the same. It's just that electrical part.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Trevor, any last
parting shots,
words before we go? Anything else you want to get out there?
Yeah, like if you are interested in learning refrigeration, head to refrigerationmentor.com or hit me up on any social media platform: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're on all the different platforms, really to help. Yeah, so if you go there and you see some shorts, YouTube shorts, go to the YouTube channel. Like there's a ton of free content. But if you're ready to really take your career, if you're in commercial refrigeration or supermarket refrigeration, definitely get one of the programs. If it's an on-demand or a live program, and you if you put the work in, you're going to see growth in it. Because so many technicians say, "Hey, Trevor, I got a pay raise, or I became a lead technician, or I got this new position because of just putting the work in. You help me build enough confidence out there to go crush it day in, day out." And I love seeing that stuff. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have to be as hard as people make it. It's just you want to get some guidance on how to make it easier for yourself, and that's what we try to do here. We try to make it easier for the technicians out in the field, so they do a great job, and they can go home to their families and enjoy their time as well.
Not lay awake in bed thinking, did I get
Did
that
I
ball
close
out?
that? Yeah, did I get the ball out?
Go back.
Exactly.
That's
I've been
fantastic.
there.
Well, hey, like I said, great meeting you in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate you joining us and here today and having a conversation with us, getting a conversation started, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll catch you again soon. So with that, chill under pressure. I'm Les.
I'm Rodney.
And I'm Adam.
And I'm Trevor.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.